the idea is at the end of the day, if anyone wants the free gifts, there's a couple of phone numbers. You just text me the word health and you'll be able to claim your free gifts. You can actually get them if you email me, but if you actually did that, you would see one of the systems, how it actually works, which is interesting. Right. Okay. Let's hope the technology allows us to do what we need to do. Yeah. Right. I have two quick questions for everybody. And they may seem obvious, but you might disagree at the end. What is the purpose of your practice website and social media pages? And the second one, write this down because it would be interesting to know. How effective is your website and social media channels at achieving the goal on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay. I promise in this training, everyone will get at least one method that you could take into your practice and actually generate more income in the next 30 days. In fact, you probably could do it in the next week. Here's some interesting facts about patients. More than half of patient revenue comes from existing customers. The average loyal patients are worth 10 times as much as a first-time patient. There's a reason for that. They cost 5 times as much to acquire a new patient than it does to keep an existing one. A 5% increase in retention of your existing patients can increase your profits by up to 75%. And a 2% increase in retention has the same effect of reducing your costs by 10%. So if you imagine if you could increase 2% more of your patients, you would actually be significantly reducing your costs as well. And you will find that repeat customers spend 300% more and purchase more frequently. So the long and the short of that message is the more you can keep your customers happy, smiling, content with you, as opposed to disappearing down the road, the more profitable your business becomes without actually having to do much more work. You have everybody who runs this kind of business has current patients. They have previous patients who may have left and gone somewhere else. You have prospects, people who perhaps made an inquiry but never actually came back, but you probably took their information. You may have social media contacts, which if you ask the right questions, you could probably get their contact information. And you've probably got other contacts through business contacts and things like that. Staying in touch means not just sending out a practice newsletter or a recall letter once every 12 or 24 months, but delivering real value, great offers, and actionable ideas. If you do this once or twice a week, your clients will remain loyal to you. You can do it via email, via social media, you can do it by video, SMS, which is text messaging, and even pick up the phone. I know we're all busy, so probably picking up the phone is probably the least likely option, but they're all possible ways of making sure that your clients feel valued all of the time. The number one reason why you should stay in touch with your clients. I was working with an optical business and we contacted 50 dormant clients, and dormant, these were clients that he'd purchased a new business from a previous optician, in fact, as it was, and he had not spoken to these people since he'd taken over 5 years ago. And apparently we ascertained that some of these people hadn't been spoken to for 9 years. So you'd have thought, wow, that's pretty dormant. We made £2,500 in sales from a single text message we sent to them. And that was from 10 appointments. And that took us 9 minutes to achieve. He had 10 new patients, which is 20% of the 50. And the average sale was 250 quid. Yours might be quite a lot higher. That seems a reasonable amount that for a sale in the optical industry. Plus, there were more referrals, more reviews, and surprise, surprise, because these people have basically become effectively a new client because they were kind of given up on, they started to do more repeat business with him. The total list size was 3,000, which was 70% of his current clients and 30% of dormant clients, which is quite worrying, really. Have you got that kind of list of dormant clients? Imagine 10 active new patients, that's 50 contacts, which is 20% of the 50. But it gets better. 50% of these people then buy the following year. So that's another £1,250. 30% of them buy every 2 years. That's another £750. So bear in mind, these were dormant clients. And if they followed the same customer pattern, which on average most in this industry do, we'd expect to retain them for around about 10 years, if not more. And for the 50 dormant patients over a 10-year period, that meant £12,500, £3,750, and plus the initial sale of £2,500. So from 50 dormant clients, your total sales over the next 10 years could be 18,750. And bearing in mind, these are people that hadn't been spoken to for nearly 9 years. So if you're sitting on large databases and you're not contacting these people on a regular basis, you're just throwing money down the drain. This is free money. Anyone want some? But don't forget, the remaining 40 patients may also make a purchase if we stay in touch with them. It's all about staying in touch. For fun, let's just assume 10% of the 3,000 patients in the database made one additional purchase this year. And 50% of them referred you and you got a new patient from them. Initial sales would be 150,000. Referred sales would be 75,000. That's potentially an extra, sorry, my math is terrible. That's 225,000 in 1 year. So from, again, staying in touch with your clients and making additional offers rather than just the recall letters, which is what most businesses seem to do, you are leaving an awful lot of money which you could easily exploit. And guess what? Even a fraction of that would be handy to most people, wouldn't it? So how do we reactivate patients? It's simple, really. We just use the personal text message. And by personal, I do not mean a sales pitch. I actually mean, is this something you would like, yes or no question? Because when you ask someone a yes or no question, one, they don't feel that you're spamming them. Two, they feel like you care about them. And three, they're going to give you a yes or a no. It's not a complicated thing. But if you feel uncomfortable doing that, you could just say, just getting back in touch with you, just checking up how you are. Sorry, we haven't heard from you for a while. Is there anything we can do to help you? I know of a physiotherapist who did that, and he got 73 bookings as a result of it from a list of about 2,000. This is how the funnel works. I'm sure we're all familiar with the word funnel in this day and age. So you basically input your data or your prospects. We send them a message. They tell you if they're interested or not. It's really quite simple. And then they book an appointment. But that's not the end of it. Once you have them in for an appointment, they're making their first purchase. But of course, you might upsell them. You might not just make that one purchase or that one eye test or one medical examination or whatever. You may actually be able to upsell them, maybe on a continuity program, something like an insurance or a maintenance program or something of that nature. And then they might make repeat purchases. As we've discussed, the average customer stays loyal for around about 10 years, probably a lot longer. But the reality is obviously the industries are constantly changing, so we can't really lay that as a definite. And then they become a lifetime customer. Generally speaking, most people have what we call move inertia. So they don't easily move from somewhere else unless you give them a reason to. And that might be they're price shopping. But generally speaking, if you look after a client, they don't even price shop unless they have to. 5 questions every visitor asks you about your brand. What story are you telling to answer these questions? Will you solve my problem? And I'm talking about not will you solve their problem, but I'm talking about do they know you will solve their problem? It's a very different statement. The fact that you might do a test of some sort, if they don't know what that test is actually achieving, as far as they're concerned, they're just paying you money for something. Do you have a good reputation online? Nowadays, everybody will have a look at your online presence before they will walk into your front door. It's just a simple fact. If you have an existing customer, obviously that's a separate issue. But if you want a new customer, you need to have many frequent and regular reviews. Anything over 3 months old, generally as a review, will probably be ignored by most people. Am I getting the best available for my needs? if we compare two separate types of businesses, one might be cheaper, but are they providing the right services? If you're providing a better service, do people know that, or do they just think you're expensive? Am I going to regret this? This is what your client's sitting there thinking, well, hang on, I'm just going to walk in the door of this business. Am I going to come out with no money and no satisfaction, or am I going to feel like this has lifted me into a new kind of happiness orbit? And your customers need to know this before they walk through the door. And very few businesses let that be known. Am I getting good value and price? The price of something is not always the same as the value of something. Just because something's cheap doesn't make it good value. It just makes it cheap. So if you're charging a premium, as long as you can justify why you're choosing that premium, and it's not just because it's a premium brand of a product or something like that, it's why it will benefit the customer. Because if it doesn't benefit the customer, and if, for example, you have loads of technical equipment and all these wonderful things, unless they understand it, to them, that is just nonsense. They don't care if you have 5 different gadgets that do 5 different things, if they don't know what those 5 things do, as far as they're concerned. A classic example, I use an optician because I know a little bit more about them because I've worked with quite a few, is that they have an awful lot of equipment. I was at an exhibition in London, and I noticed how some of this equipment is 100, 200,000 pounds. And I'm thinking, how many eye appointments are you going to have to do to make 200,000 pounds worth of cost back? And your clients don't even know why you've got it. You do, but they don't. There are 2 types of practices, if you like. There are storefront brands, which is most of you, I'm sure, have. And there are online brands. And I would like to think in this day and age that everybody has a website. Most people will visit your online business brand website, social media, and check your reviews before they book anything at your practice or clinic. That's just simple facts of today. If you're going to go to a restaurant, you won't go to a restaurant unless somebody's highly recommended it to you, or you've checked the TripAdvisor, all the different things that you can be checked to find out that it's going to be the right place. A couple of negative reviews in your business in a very short space of time could cost you an awful lot of money. And most businesses don't monitor those reviews, so they have no idea that they've got them. The biggest opportunity is building your online brand and standing out from your customers online. And I'll explain why as I keep going through the presentation. So how do you tell a story that differentiates you and your brand from everyone else in the industry? What makes you different? And that means different from anyone who does what you do in your local area. You don't have to necessarily be different to someone 230 miles away, because that's kind of irrelevant. They're not going to travel that distance to go to that kind of service. In 2000, you had 12 seconds to capture someone's attention. Now you have 8 seconds, and if you haven't caught them on your website within the first 8 seconds, they're gone. That's 1 second less than a goldfish has an attention span of. And the coincidence of the picture obviously is for the goldfish. Right, new web trends. One of the most important things is that 70% of people are now looking on a mobile phone when they look for your business. If they're not finding you on a mobile, then the chances is they are not finding you. So if your website isn't mobile optimized, and I don't mean it works on mobile, I mean it's mobile optimized, and I'll explain that in a couple of secs, you will be throwing a lot of potential clients completely who won't go anywhere. There's literally people who don't have a computer. They just sit there and do everything on their phone, and the speed of the thing they can do is beyond belief. The biggest enemy of the conversion in this day and age is a poor website, and you'd be surprised what makes a poor website. Most practice websites are brochures. And in fact, quite a lot of companies that produce websites for opticians proudly say, this is a brochure website. And I think, why would you want one? They don't do anything. That's the problem. You don't want visitors to your website who are just going to read stuff. You want them to take action. You want them to convert into patients, people who give you money. If not, you've just got a pretty website, but a pretty website that's pretty useless, to be fair. There are 4 actions you want someone to take when they come to your website. Now, think about this. Is this what they do when they come to yours? They might click on a link. So that could be in an email, that might be on an advertisement, it could be anywhere, but they've basically got to your website by clicking on a link. You want them to subscribe and opt in on your website. And the reason is not everyone will make a decision the first time they come to your website, particularly with practice kind of websites. The thing I see more often than not is book an appointment, and then there's a form that would throw even a doctor into panic because it has like 63 different fields they have to fill in, and you've never even met them. And it really quite surprising. I spoke to a couple of software developers from the optical industry, and they said to me, we can't do it any differently. And I said, you're not going to attract customers. You're basically going to put new people off. And if you're losing new people, you're not growing. You might still be existing, but you can't grow if everybody who comes to your website is expected to leap through a hoop like a performing dolphin. What you really want them to do is either call you, contact you, or book an appointment with you. And ultimately, you want them to buy stuff off you, because much as though it's nice to have people walking into the building, you actually want to sell something to them. And you don't actually probably generally want people who are going to have a £30 service. You want someone who is going to spend money with you. So you want to be selective as to who you deal with. Why not? If you don't want to deal with lower end clients and that's appropriate for your kind of business, then make your services appropriate to the people who will pay more money. A funnel is basically what we recommend is a one-page website. And the reason you need a funnel is visitors looking for your products and services. So you've got to be able to tell your story as to why they should come to you and they shouldn't go somewhere else. You need to let them know why you're different. If you're more costly than your neighbor, your next, the company down the street, the practice two roads down, why? You need to educate your customers about your products and your services. Your qualifications, although very important to you, don't actually matter to your customer unless they understand what they mean to them. They don't actually care if you got an award for something if it doesn't affect them. It's just vanity. So I often watch all industries, and it doesn't matter which industry you pick, they have all of these awards that everybody wins every year and everyone pats each other on the back, which is great and fantastic. Yeah, you're obviously doing a great job in your industry, but are you growing your business? Because the reality is, without turning that into customer action, it's only a short-term vanity. They need to know the benefits of working with you. So if you're a veterinarian, it's because I'm a specialist in. It's you're a dentist, I work predominantly with, and you get the idea. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to give the customer the reasons why you're their best choice. And most importantly, they have to see value in what you do. That doesn't mean it's cheap. In fact, quite the opposite. Actually, the best value comes from the person who gives the best service and charges a reasonable price. If you're trying to undercut a competition, I will pick the optical industry because I know it. People think that by selling like 3-for-1s and crazy stuff like that, it's going to keep them in business. The problem is that the companies that do that have massive amounts of money. And if you're a small independent or something like that, you can't compete in that game. So don't try. Give value. Don't try to play the discount game. And if Amazon come into your industry, you can't compete. But you can compete on value. What if instead of building a multiple website brochure website, which most of us have got, you build a single page website that tells why you're different? It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and is designed solely to convert visitors into appointments, because that's all you actually want from your website. Right, there are 2 kinds of websites. There's one what we call the one-page website funnel, and there's the multi-page website. And I would explain why you might want the one-page website rather than the multi-page website. Simple, it's one page, which might seem a pretty obvious statement, but it's one page on a mobile phone. So basically, you just stroll all the way through it on a mobile phone. And the advantage that is you don't have to click everywhere, you don't jump about here and there, and everything is directing you to where they want you, where you want them to go. Multiple page website, the story's clear. From the minute they come to your website, they know what you can do for them. If you've got lots and lots of pages, they don't even know where to look, let alone what the story is. It's hard to navigate, especially on a phone when there's lots of clicking involved. If you've ever tried to do something on a website that wasn't designed to work on a mobile phone and do it on a mobile phone, you'll realize how important it is to make sure that your website works with a mobile phone, because it's an absolute nightmare to do anything that involves clicking on different pages and things like that. And you have 4 browser windows open and it's just a total nightmare. But more importantly, you can funnel them to take action. You only want them to take action. Remember, you're not there to entertain them. If they want to entertainment, send them to YouTube or TikTok. And if you have a website that's got lots and lots and lots and lots of information, they don't know what to do. And if people don't know what to do, the usual default method is they'll do absolutely nothing. So they'll just go, oh, I don't know what to do, and just disappear. And also with a website, funnel website, you can split test. So you can change things to see if it gets a better result, if it books you more appointments. There's no way you can split test because you've got so many pages, you don't even know where they are. It's a very different game on a multi-page website. And they are slowly becoming more and more redundant, but companies still keep building them. But the problem is that they don't consider that nobody really is looking on a computer to do things most of the time. You can put lots of calls to actions on a mobile website if it's on one page. You don't have to just have the one thing they can do. So if somebody's scrolling through your website, then the chances are that they're interested enough to want to know more. But if they're jumping about clickety, 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 click, you've got absolutely no idea what actions you can put on there because you don't know where they're going to take the action. It needs to be mobile friendly. At least 60%, and I think that's probably an underestimate, will be mobile friendly people. And you can track how things are going. When you have a website that's designed to make it possible to track everything, then you know whether if you run an advertisement, how it's worked. If you run, put a QR code on your window or something like that, you know when people have been there. But you have no clue if they can just disappear from page to page to page to page, because you don't know what actually made them come and do anything. More importantly, you can create a free irresistible offer. And by an irresistible offer, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to give something free that costs money to buy. There are ways and means of giving a free offer. I had one client who we gave away free lens cleaner. It might sound a very strange thing to give away because obviously it costs money, but he actually had a system where he could refill the bottles. So every time somebody ran out of lens cleaner, they had to come in. Of course, in order to come in, they had to go past all of the new spectacles, etc., on the shelves. So because they'd been past all the spectacles on the shelves, they weren't thinking about buying. They were actually going to go get some glasses cleaner. But the reality is that on average, he made 1 in 7 sales because of people coming to collect the free glasses cleaner that cost him about £1 a time. And my least favorite thing on any website is the contact us button. And I will explain why in a little while, but you'll be quite shocked at the stats. This is the kind of thing I mean by a funnel, if you like, website. It's very straightforward. There's very little information. Imagine this be on a mobile. I'll show you what it would look like a bit on a mobile. But as you can see, it's really very simple. Book an appointment, but that does not go to a form that you fill in. That literally goes to collect their name and email and ideally mobile phone. And then you can send them to more and more information, which they might need or you might need, but they've taken that initial action. So even if they don't book the appointment because they changed their mind or whatever, you've now got them as a potential prospect to sell to in the future. And as you can see, typically you would have things like what the kind of services you provide. All of this is on the one page. What matters to your clients? You might get client reviews, you could get client videos, and You could have an offer video. So you can have a video. People love video because it says an awful lot in a very short space of time. Doesn't have to be you on video, but if it's you on video, it's even more powerful. Because once you show yourself on video, people start to think of it as being you. So therefore, they start to warm to you. The reason I do my events is predominantly because I know that people buy people. You might not like me, that's fair enough. But the point is at least you've had the chance to meet me and make your own choices. You might list your services. You might get testimonial videos. And a testimonial video doesn't have to be your client actually just recording themselves. You could ask them why they're buying something, if they would mind doing a quick video and posting it on Facebook or whatever. But equally, you can just ask them if they can create your video and send it to you. But equally, if they don't want to do that, if they're happy to have a picture on the thing or even an example of the item they bought, they can just voice over the top. So they just literally send you a recording. And then you can have things like frequently asked questions and answer the questions and show your professionalism, because you know all this stuff, but your client doesn't know this at this point because they haven't walked in the door yet. This is still them doing their homework, doing their research. The more you tell them why they need to do the things they need to do, and it's not about you need an annual eye test if it's an optician, it's you need to get your dog vaccinated. Tell them the reasons for it, not just that you need to do it. Give them the reason, and people will pay whatever it costs. Certainly, I pay to insure my pet, etc. I probably pay more for my pet than most people. But the reality is I pay it because I believe in all the things that I'm being told and the benefits it brings me and peace of mind. Peace of mind is a big reason why people will spend more money with you. And in the obviously this is optical version, so you might just pick a case study. It might even be a customer that you've dealt with who's perhaps the kind of person you want to deal with. So say, for example, you wanted to specialize in children's eyewear, and I don't know if that's anything that anyone would, but the reality is you can give case studies of people you've dealt with. Obviously, you can change names if these people aren't happy. But generally speaking, the more you explain to people what you can do for them, the more they will warm to you. So it's not like they're booking an appointment and then crossing their fingers. They literally are almost looking forward to coming to you. But more importantly, they're looking forward to coming to you and spending money with you. They're not just coming in to do looks and have a quick eye test. They've already started to think, what's the most important things I need to consider? And of course, most importantly, and quite often not seen, are things like your opening hours and how to get there. How to get there is a really big one, because most people nowadays will use either Google Maps or something. So if you have a map there, you're telling people that it's on Google Maps. Alternatively, at least give them the full postcode and maybe a phone number in case they do get lost. And of course, there are certain essential things that you have to have at the bottom, but never ever forget, even at the very bottom, don't get people to have to go back up to the top of the website if they want to book anything with you or contact you. More importantly, the way a funnel website works is if you click a button, it actually takes you to the part where the button would take you to that particular section. So if it, say, for example, said read about us, that about us button might not be where it is, and it could take you back up to the about us. So it literally slides back up. So as you say, you can put offers on your website, but an offer doesn't have to be a freebie. An offer can be something that changes on a regular basis. It doesn't have to, the idea of what you're trying to do is interrupt the actions of someone who's just about to leave your website. So the offer may even not happen until they're just about to go. And you could have a better offer if they've already decided to go. What have you got to lose? And you could interview people. We could either interview yourself, so it would be you showing your expertise, or you could interview a client and you could even have a discussion with them. In this day and age, you can film things on a mobile phone in a matter of minutes and have it on YouTube in like 5 minutes. So if you want to get better conversions in your business, full stop, and particularly on your website, you need to tell a better story. So how do we tell a story? Let me show you. This is an average looking website on a desktop computer. I borrowed something from the US because quite simply, no, it's highly unlikely that anyone has seen this before. So the point is, it's very texty, as you can see, and most websites are. And those that have pictures, they don't always have pictures that are relevant. They often have things that look impressive, but don't actually help anybody. So just because it says it's mobile optimized doesn't mean it's optimized for mobile. That's what that would look like on a mobile phone, which is quite worrying. What you're looking for is to make things so simple. That's an example of what it would look like on a mobile phone. There is no ambiguity. There is no situation where they don't know what to do. It's simply that. That's the thing that you need your customer to see when they go to your website. There should not be 5 alternative options. There should literally be book an appointment, call us today, because they're the only things you're actually interested in. If they want to know more, they can scroll down. But if that's the thing that comes straight into their face, that's the thing they'll take action on. Tell your story with images, short copy, color, sorry about the spelling, and a design in a story block that looks like this. So as I say, it's a story. You're basically telling a story of why your company is the one they should come and use. Don't try and be a brochure, and don't try and be Amazon. Don't have every single thing there is that you could possibly sell on your website. People don't care. They want to come and see the real thing if they're going to buy it. And generally speaking, they don't know whether it's appropriate for them anyway. And you have a choice. You can create website content that looks like that, or you can create website content that tells you the story. Which one do you think is going to keep them more engaged? And more importantly, which one do you think is going to get you more customers? A one-page brand site funnel, it needs to have an attention-getting headline. It needs to have an attention-getting image. Apologies, this isn't particularly practice-based, but it was the best one I could find at the time. It needs to have an attention-getting offer. It needs to have some way of actually getting them to do something, and an attention-getting button. And it needs to have what you can do for your customer. And it needs to be almost in the form of a guarantee. So it's, I promise that once you enter our premises, we will do da, 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 and da. It's really important that you want them to take action, not go to a contact us button. Why? I absolutely hate contact us pages. I did a test on contact us pages. I contacted 3,000 businesses in many different industries. Of the 3,000 businesses, I asked one very simple question. Are you open on Wednesday? And I got 66 replies within a week. I have had 106 replies in the last 6 months. So presumably the rest have all gone out of business, which I suspect is very unlikely. The average response time from a contact us page is 47 hours. And customers are not going to wait 47 hours for you to answer the question, are you open? It doesn't need to be like that. Just 27% of leads ever get contacted. My figures are even worse. The likelihood of reaching a shopper within 5 minutes is 10 times higher than if you left it for 20 minutes. That might come as a bit of a shock. Businesses that respond within the first hour are 7 times more likely to have a meaningful conversation with a decision maker. So they're actually more likely to actually book an appointment, come and get advice, etc., etc. We've all had the issues with, I'm sure, the National Health, and we've all sat, I'm 27th in the queue, right? Queue waiting is just going to kill most businesses. It doesn't kill the NHS because they can get away with it. But generally a private business, if you have a queue of more than one, essentially you need to find a better way of dealing with things. And you can't always do that. The fast responder will win up to 50% of the sales. If I was going and checking 4 or 5 different businesses and I got put on hold, the chances are I've gone. If I got put on hold twice, I've gone to the next one. If I'm plan on a website, and for whatever reason it doesn't load quickly enough, I've gone, because that's how customers are today. They don't hang about. You're not the only choice. Calling after 30 minutes is 21 times less effective. So when somebody leaves you a message on your answer phone and then you phone them back the next day, if they left the message at 3 p.m. and you phone them at 9 o'clock the following morning, there's a fair likely chance that they've already gone somewhere else. There was a situation where I contacted a vet and I actually got a message: if your call's important to us, please contact this number and then phone that number and then phone that. Literally 3 different numbers, none of which told me where I actually had to get some help. Right. And the problem is the alternative was, we'll call you back after the weekend. Now, not expecting everyone to work during the weekend, but at least acknowledge the fact and have clear information on your website, and also have a means to let people leave conversations and things like that. And I'll explain how you do that in a minute. A 1-minute response time can lead to 391% more conversions. Not sure where that figure's come from, but all of these figures have come from different types of research. 82% of customers, and I think we're probably all the same about this one, expect a response within 10 minutes. I imagine we all sit there tapping the fingers, etc., after about 10 minutes. We might stay for 10 minutes if it was fairly important, but generally speaking, we'll just go, oh, blow it, I can't be bothered, I'll go somewhere else. If you were booking a restaurant, for example, the chances are if you would have 3 or 4 options. So the first one that answered the phone probably be the one you'd pick. Less than 25% of businesses respond to web leads via the phone. That's quite shocking. So people use a website to generate a lead, but they never call them back. And the strange thing is because most websites don't actually have a system where they ask for that information, bizarrely. Thursday apparently is the best day to respond. I don't really understand the logic to that one. And time your emails right can increase conversions by 49%. If you send emails to your clients, customers, whatever you like to call them, you consider the time you're sending them. Sometimes first thing in the morning can be a good idea, but probably not on a Monday morning. And sometimes 6 o'clock at night can be a good idea, because you've just got home from work and you've answered their question. Don't assume because you're at work, that's the best time to send an email. 71% of clients have made a purchase based on an experience quality. So in other words, if you've had a good experience from customer services, for example, you're more likely to buy. But if you've felt ignored or you've been on hold for the best part of 2 hours, the chances are you ain't never going to buy. And businesses see around about a 15% churn rate when they're slow to respond. A churn rate, just so you understand, is basically a customer leaves you and disappears. So every time you pay to get a customer in, because in some ways you pay either through advertising or promotions or whatever, 15% will go if you do not regularly reply to them, respond to them. There is a way around it. It's what we call the welcome mat. And the reason I call it a welcome mat is because it makes people feel welcome. So how it works is instead of having this horrible contact us thing that everybody ignores, we have what we call a question. I'll refer to it as a widget, but it's not really a widget. It's basically a very simple script that goes on any website. It doesn't have to be a funnel website. It can be any website. But what it will do is it asks for people's name, their mobile phone number, and gives them the chance to ask a message, leave a message or ask a question. The great thing about that is because you now have their mobile phone number, you can reply to them. And the really good thing about that is you can reply to them on a mobile phone when they might be at work. So therefore, you can give them an answer. We've all had a text message when we've been at work and we can't, or a phone call, and we can't take a phone call because we're busy or we're busy with a patient or whatever. But we can always take a text message. It doesn't matter if we don't read it straight away, but it's there. And the other good thing is you don't have to keep coming back to the website to keep sending text messages. We have a built-in system. So in order to do that, you can actually send a text message from your phone to your customer, and you will also get a reminder that you've actually got a message to send them to get back in touch with them. So say, for example, they contacted you on a Sunday evening and they've left you a message about Monday, then you're able to contact them first thing Monday morning, but you'll know that you have that message ready and waiting. It'll be there in your list of things to do, and you can reply to them. And that could be the difference between having a new customer or not having a new customer, or one of your competitors having a customer, because obviously nobody's going to answer during the weekend. And that's what it would look like typically on a website. And although the mobile phone seems to have disappeared, that's what it would look like on a mobile phone. If you imagine that's the center of a mobile phone. Another question, how many calls do you of your staff missed in a typical month? Did some research on this, and so did a lot of other people. Around 60 to 80% of all calls go unanswered. And obviously there are several reasons for that, but we have a system where you can have a mixed call text back. So instead of losing a call, basically it sends a text saying, sorry, we've missed you. We'll get back to you. Would you like to continue this conversation via a text, or would you like to consider this conversation when we'll call you back at a convenient time? The reason texting is very, very popular is because people are busy, and often they're in a car, or they might have called you at lunchtime or doing a coffee break at work. And much as though they might have been able to call you, they don't want you to call them back because their bosses just told them that they can't take phone calls at work. But if you can send them a text message, once they're conveniently available, then they can contact you via text message. You can continue a conversation, or you can set up a convenient time to talk. The reasons we miss phone calls is we're too busy to answer the phone because we're dealing with patients, or staff are dealing with people at the desk or whatever. The call's engaged and there's no waiting system. The waiting system, the press 4, press 3, press 2, your 90th in the queue, they're an absolute nightmare for most businesses, because essentially if you're looking to run a competitive business where you're hoping to make money, then people just don't wait. The only reason we wait for the doctor is basically we have no option. People forget to follow up. Your staff may have a message, but they might write it down and they might just forget, or they get busy and they follow up, but it's 4 hours later and things like that. But as soon as you start that conversation, that client, that patient now feels that you care about them. So you're part of their life for a while, until such time as they either decide that you're not the people you want to deal with, or alternatively they'll continue waiting for you. They probably won't shop around. You've kind of nailed them to you. You stop losing customers to your competitors because you're the first to answer. If the alternatives are queues, waiting for engaged phones, because nothing worse than an engaged phone. And obviously we all have a limited number of phone lines and limited number of staff. So we can't keep answering the phone all the time and we never get anything done. And you get the opportunity to start a conversation with a potential new prospect. There is even ways in which you can set that up so that certain questions, like frequently asked questions, or you could send them to certain parts of your website for information. They get an immediate reply. They feel loved, they feel wanted, they feel appreciated, as opposed to you're 19th in the queue. And they're not dependent on your staff being available. If your staff are helping you, or they're doing something with a patient, or they're on reception, or they're just having lunch break, then you don't need staff there. They can deal with things when they come back. And you could even be given an advance warning with the fact that there is a message that needs to be dealt with, and you can know in advance, even if it's not you, that someone needs to deal with it, and then you'll get a reminder that it's completed. Another thing that's really important is to build a list. And I know that people who run physical businesses don't think they need a list, but the reason we do is because the high street is becoming less and less and less populated by people. I was in Peterborough Town city centre today, and it was like a ghost town. And I think that's generally the case for most towns in the middle of the week, particularly. There's just not the number of footfall that there used to be, thanks to COVID. So we had our brand site. Then we're collecting leads all the time. What we want to do is give reasons for people to give us their information. Even if they're not ready to become a patient, we can nurture them to become a patient. So we might provide them a useful information. We might provide them a guide. We might provide them a video on YouTube. We might create a series of videos, but we're just educating them as to why they should come to us and not go to your competition. And then we build up email campaigns. So once we build our list, we can then, when we want to launch a new product, say, for example, we're veterinarians and we're just about to launch a campaign for a vaccination discount or something, we can send that to everybody who's got a dog, for example, if we ask the right questions, or everyone who's got a cat, and the questions can be geared so they fit the people that we're talking to. We call that tagging. So if you tag people with as much information as possible, then when you send them information, it's very relevant to them. It's not kind of generalistic. The more relevant the thing is to me, you, anybody, the more likely we're to react. It's like if a ladies' outfitter sends a bra advert to a man, obviously it's not particularly good targeting, but the chances are it happens because people don't consider that they need to target their audience. The more target you are, the less work you have to do to make them become a customer. There are two sides to marketing and sales. Marketing is getting the lead to raise their hand, and that's what your website's for. And sales is converting leads into paying patients. And sales is done inside the building usually, and generating the leads is usually done outside of the building, either through physical mailing, through video, there's various different methods you can use in order to bring people into your door. Once they get into your door, then it's your processes that turn them into paying patients. Almost without exception, your practice CRM and website are not designed for marketing and and you're losing sales for many reasons. The great back of house clinic, they're great for a back of house clinic, but they are not designed by people who market, who generate leads. They're designed by software engineers. I have had several discussions about how marketing and software don't work well together. They don't play nice. Most of these companies assume that a client will book an appointment because they see an appointment booking button. But then they ask for lots and lots of information. And if you don't give that information, they won't even collect any of the information. So not only have you lost the client, you've not got the appointment, you've got no way of following them up. And when you've only got 2 to 4% of people who come to your website anyway, who do anything, and the majority will do nothing, you have no way of getting them to raise their hand because you have no information. So you can't contact them, you can't email them, you can't phone them, you have nothing. Without an appointment for an online practice, you will eventually shrink. So you need to consider online really, really seriously. So take a look at what your website is doing and how you rated it when you were talking about, when we were talking at the beginning. If you rated it 10, maybe you need to think again. If you rated it 5 or 6, what is it would take in order to bring that 7, 8, 9, 10? The reality is if you aren't generating leads online at this point in time, eventually the high street is going to slow, and eventually you will see that your business will start to die. And if big companies like, say, for example, Amazon start getting into your business and start undercutting you, and if you're a price-driven business, you really are going to find it difficult. So you need to think, when you run a practice, less like a practice or a clinic owner and more like a fisherman. Corny, I know, but there are keys to that. You need the right call to action. So you need a reason why a customer would give you their information. And you also need to be able to offer them something that will make them want to provide that information. So it's a combination of factors. You need the two together in order for it to work. And how many of you would be more successful if you had a regular flow of people coming in to your business and you didn't have to worry about marketing from the outside? A free offer that attracts your perfect patient in exchange for their contact information. Buy free. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to cost anything. People love checklists. People absolutely pay money for checklists. But a checklist of the things you might need to consider before you go to the vet, a checklist before you consider teeth whitening, a checklist, these kind of things are very, very powerful, really easy to produce, very easy to distribute online, but they will get you people who may not be ready to become a customer today, but with nurturing them and sending them more and more information, you now have the opportunity to capture them from either your competition or just to capture them and to, over a period of time, nurture them into your fold. Information sheets, a bit like checklists, but again, information. People love to have facts. That people nowadays don't like to be given a kind of airy-fairy information. They like fact. And also reports and guides. Say, for example, you're looking at contact lenses, for example, and you want to understand why you shouldn't wear contact lenses. Can I wear them with a computer? Can I wear them when I'm driving? What happens if it's sunny? These kind of things. And they're easy to provide and easy to create. And then there's offers and trials. Quite often, people will come in to purchase something if there's an offer or a trial on. The classic one, obviously, is an offer where it's a timing offer. So it might be a Christmas offer, an Easter offer, but you don't need it to be a Christmas or Easter offer. But if it is an offer, make it a real offer. But the best kind of offers are what we call bundle offers. So for example, instead of discounting something by 50%, give a bundle of something. So they get A, B, C, D, and that's a bundle. So nobody can compete with you. So you don't, if you're an optician, for example, you don't have to compete with Specsavers 2 for 1, because when they come to you, they get a wonderful little presentation box. They get a guide, they get this, they get this, they get this. Make it an experience, make it something special, even a t-shirt if necessary. Because if you consider the costs of 50% discounts and things like that, it's probably well worth it. Plus, it makes you unable to be duplicated. And if people can't duplicate you, it makes you very unique. You could have run an open evening, but every time you do any form of marketing, promotion, make sure you have a means to collect people's information. Give them a reason to give you their information. It can be done via a text message. It can be done via a web link. It can be done through a QR code. But you want everybody who's at anything to give you their information, because if people come to, say, for example, an open evening on puppy training, then it's a fair indication that they have a puppy. It's pretty unlikely that they're going to turn up for puppy training open evening without having a puppy. So you now know they have a puppy. So therefore, you now know you can sell them A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can now perhaps do a deal with another company that sells some of the other products. Also think of joint ventures with other companies that complement your product. Local businesses. Often we find that we think of other local businesses that have had nothing to do with us, but that doesn't necessarily matter, because sometimes we can just offer a bundle of things as a unique way of bringing people in. Like, for example, a dentist might also be an optician's customer, might also be a physiotherapist customer. They might have a dog. But the reality is you could all promote each other, because you don't compete on service. You only compete for the customer. And okay, everyone's got a finite amount of money, but the reality is most of these things they have to have anyway. So why not with you and a select few? You could publish a book, and it's not as difficult as you might think. And we're running a LinkedIn event in a couple of weeks on how you could publish a book, but more importantly, how you can make that book make you a lot of money and you won't need to sell the book. Examinations. You might offer free examinations. For example, you might offer a limited number of free examinations. The limited thing is really, really important. So you've probably tried to get concert tickets to a concert. Well, the reason that you can't get concert tickets to a concert is because they deliberately pre-promote them, and there's a limited number. There may well not be a limited number because they could keep selling them anyway. But the fact that they limit the number means everyone's there frenzied to get in the queue. So why fight to get customers when they can fight to get you? You can offer people samples. Most businesses get samples from reps. So if people make inquiries or things like that, or you might have an example when you give examples away, so people have to come and collect them. Doesn't mean you have to promote them only in the business. You can promote them online. And the great thing is a continuity program. And a continuity program means something that pays you consistently. A classic example might be a maintenance contract or something like that, because as soon as you start the beginning of a month, if you've got 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people on a continuity program, you're making money even before you open the door. And 9 times out of 10, for example, we very rarely cancel continuity programs unless there's a reason that we don't need them. So if it's something that you're normally providing or you're not providing at a higher level, then a continuity program can be a real money spinner because it basically gives you a guaranteed income before you even start work. And microservices, sometimes people don't want to pay for a full service on a certain type of thing. So offer an alternative, a lower grade of something. So that way they have an option of taking a smaller service because that's how the budget is. Or maybe it's microservice to them, but it's actually an upgrade. So therefore, so for example, they might want a second pair of eyewear, for example. So you might provide that second pair of eyewear and you might throw in a maintenance package or something like that. So it becomes an extra service. Best calls to actions are give people the option to book, self-book 24/7, but make it really easy. Don't ask them for 400 different pieces of information. Watch, listen to a recording. So perhaps on your website, put a recording on there telling them why you're the business they should work with. People love watching video. Call our staff. Make it easy for people to contact you. Give them stuff to look at. Give them stuff they can download. Once people download stuff from your website and they find it valuable, they're likely to come back. And then more importantly, reply to them. When they contact you, reply to them urgently, quickly. And what you're ultimately trying to do is get people to opt in and sign up. Once you've got them on your list, and I keep referring to this list, then they are your customer as far as you're concerned. You can keep nurturing them until they do what you want them to do. Right. Would you like to generate leads while you sleep? You can probably get your staff to do it, but you won't be doing a lot of sleeping. It's fairly limited. Obviously, they have to be good at the job. They're going to need constant training because they weren't designed to be lead generators, and they're probably going to need constant managing. The alternative is if you create a lead generation funnel, you just create a lead magnet, so something that people want. You build a landing page, which is just a single one-page website, and then you turn that into traffic 24/7. This literally will bring you clients on a Sunday afternoon at 7 or 7 o'clock in the evening on a Sunday. Or alternatively, if you didn't want to do that, you can hire an expert who can do that for you, or they can combine the two. And that would bring you a steady flow of people. You could concentrate on doing what you do best, and you would know that there was a constant flow of customers. What is a lead magnet funnel? Simple. Sorry, I'm conscious of the fact I've gone on a bit. A lead magnet funnel is just a simple way of capturing people's information from your website, from your blogs, from videos, if you have any on YouTube and things like that, from email messages, from external physical messages, from letters, everything. If you're sending out a letter and you're not having a QR code or an option for people to connect on a website, the chances are that they are probably going to ignore the letter. And this is the difference between a brand site funnel and a lead generation funnel. Brand site funnel, as you can see, sorry, it's all kind of compressed, but as you can see, it all flows in one page. And a lead generation funnel is a landing page. So basically, if you were running an advert, you'd send them to a landing page because it's simple. But if you're running, like if you ask people after your website address, you just give them the website address, which essentially is a lot of lead generation funnels anyway. So one works the same as the other. And as you can see, you can do that. Right. One big opportunity is social branding. There's something called social headers. The top of your header on your YouTube, the top of your header on your Facebook, they're all headers. Virtually every company has possibly 1 in 5 has a name, right? 1 in 20 has nothing, and about 1 in 50 don't even think they even know what it is. And the reality is, it is an opportunity to promote an offer on your business. So, for example, put a social header. Each site I seem to have missed one. Each social media site is a digital storefront for your business. It is the modern way of marketing. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Google. So this is what I mean by social cover. Have an offer on your headers of your social media. So, for example, this is a bit crazy, but a 69% off a dental exam. It's in your face and it gives people a reason to contact you. And you can keep changing it. It might be, have a reason to change it. It could be the exact same offer, but it's an Easter offer, it's a Christmas offer, it's Sunny Summer's Day, it's the King's birthday. It doesn't really matter. The reason is it keeps changing because every time they change it, Facebook, for example, gives your web page a boost. And if the more boosts you get, the more people will see it. And the more people see your offers, it's like free advertising. Why would you not want to do it? How often should you post on social media? 4 times a day on Twitter, they say, 2 on Facebook, once on LinkedIn, and 3 on Instagram. The chances are you're probably not doing that. So post twice a day if you can. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Literally, it could be a picture of a client who is happy to have their picture. In fact, they are some of the best posts on any social media post, because that is your customer. Your customers absolutely love, when they're feeling good, they love being made the star for the day. So why not make them a star? Maybe even interview a customer and create a little short video. It doesn't have to be very long. In fact, the minute is about the best. Only 12% of your followers are going to ever see your posts. So the more you keep posting, the more people are going to see. If you keep promoting consistently, the social networks promote you more. And you can, of course, run an advertisement when you've got an active page. If there's nothing on the page, there's no point in running an advert because people are going to go, there's nothing there. But bearing in mind, people will go to Facebook, people will go to Instagram in particular, and to look what your business is like before they even walk through the door. So make sure that showcases your business. You could also use video. Video is getting bigger and bigger. But the most important thing is that videos now don't have to be long. So anyone can create one. They literally should be about a minute. Anything more than a minute and it gets involved, and probably you want it on your website as a primary. But for a short 30-second minute video, it will literally, and virtually anyone could create one every day. And by doing that, you create energy in your business. People will see what's going on. And it doesn't necessarily have to always be about your business. It could be about something that's happening in the local area, because people buy people. And if you regularly report on something, eventually you'll start to see people that will actually come to you because of the fact that they like you. And it's not as popular as it used to be, but blogging is another way of attracting people. And by blogging, I mean writing an article on your website so people can find information about you. Okay, I'm sorry I was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. You've showed up today, even though you're super busy. And I really appreciate all of you coming. And you showed up today because you're probably not generating the type of leads you want from your website or your offers, or you're just generally curious and you want to grow your business and get more opportunities and appointments. Or maybe you showed up today because you want to position yourself as the best in your area. And it's really important to consider this. If you only have the one branch, you only need to be better than everybody else in your area. Don't compete with the world. You only have to be one step above everybody else. So don't consider the fact that your reach has to be so extensive in a local business. You can become the local hero. And I have examples of people that I know have done that and they literally, people will come just because you are the local hero for your business. And you realize every single customer would love to know you because of the fact that you have become the popular person in your industry. And you want this year to be your best year ever. Or maybe you just showed up because you're tired of guessing. Have you tried stuff that doesn't work? Have you tried SEO? SEO is probably one of the slowest ways of generating leads. I could tell you a very quick story. I used to own 3,500 websites and was earning £60,000 a month from £3,500 websites. Google changed its algorithm, and I went from £60,000 a month to £16 a month in 8 weeks. Throwing money at SEO is not a long-term strategy because it can change on a whim. So now you have two options. You can either do everything I've shown today, and hopefully you've found some value in it. And any questions about anything, I'm more than happy to answer them after tonight, because I appreciate I've gone on a bit. And if you want to find out ways of doing these things, I did an awful lot of trial and error to find this information. And I also have a team of about 10 or 12 people that I refer to on a regular basis. And I also have external forces as well. Alternatively, you can get all of this kind of thing done, and you can have it done within your budget requirements and your requirements. And often some of these things you can implement, and actually you will not actually believe they will generate you more income than you'll ever pay out, and many times over. For example, I did a text campaign. I think I told you about the one for the 9 minutes, but I did a text campaign for, actually it was another optician. We did a text campaign for 1 month for a business that had been shut for, I think it was 18 weeks for COVID and various other things. And then it was shut again. And we did £28,500. And it was a very small business. And literally it was all from existing customers, and it was one text message. So I'm sorry that's gone on a bit. If you have any questions, if anyone's still here, and I'm sorry if I've gone on, you can contact me on those numbers. So if anyone wants to take a screenshot of that, if anyone would like a replay of any of this, please either comment or send me an email. Probably sending me an email is better, because I think the chat disappears. And if you want the free gifts, I guarantee they are worth having, because they are very valuable. One of them will actually show you exactly how your business looks across the internet. It's a very simple piece of software that searches all over the internet. It looks at whether you have video content and all this kind of thing. And I'd be more than happy to send you them. And I will now ask if there's any questions. And I'm sorry that's took so long. All right, you can unmute as and when you wish.
I just wanted to say thank you. Gosh, that was a wealth of information. There's a lot you've piled in that last hour, Graham.
Sorry, it was a bit kind of whistle stop. Yeah.
No, well, I suppose there is a lot involved in this, isn't it? So you've actually fitted in a lot. It's all quite interesting. It was more of the website, the differences that you'd compared between, the funnel, one page and that, which is definitely given me food for thought. So I'll get in touch to see. But no, I just wanted to say thank you. I think that was really brilliant. You've obviously been doing this for some time.
Yes, about 40 years, but not online for 40. But yeah. Yeah,
I mean, looking at the other participants here, they're probably mostly younger than me, but I'm in an era where technology just wasn't taught in my time, and it's most frustrating not being able to do or have the knowledge of a lot of the IT stuff and all of this marketing stuff. So, but you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to get involved, otherwise you're at a loss. So I think, before I used to think, I can do this, I'm good at my job, I can do this, but then you reach a stage where you can't do everything all by yourself. You can't wear all the hats, and other people,
that's the problem.
Other people, you've got to give in sometimes to say, okay, there are other professionals who know this much better, and let them do it. So I think you certainly got me hooked. I'm very grateful for all your time, more than ours. I'll be getting in touch. But
okay. My dog will need to go shortly as well, so I don't know the feeling.
Same here. I'm going to go and feed mine as well. So I don't know if anyone else has got any questions that I will stay on for, might be interesting.
Graham,
Yes.
could you stop sharing your screen? Then then everyone can see it.
Yeah, bear with me. Yep, sorry about that.
That's right.
Let's just move
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was absolutely great. I'm in a situation where I've taken over a business that I've been working in for a few years, and I've taken it over a few years ago, and we're busy and sort of successful in the way it always has been, and I'm looking to sort of run more double clinics than we ever have before. And therefore, suddenly you have to double the amount of people that you try and see when you start running more double clinics. So, and I'm interested in your, I was interested in your sort of ideas on website. I'm interested in, the more direct call to actions and things that you pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in terms of timing, the sort of, I must admit, our clients, if I tried to communicate twice a day with them, they'd all leave.
Oh, no, not twice a day.
Yes, I know, but in terms of even our social media content and even posting anywhere, like I don't want to be posting that often, and I understand why you would and why you might. But in terms of like one of the regular communications we make is a recall letter, a recall email. And we've recently added a direct book now appointment, which can link direct to the email, and they can just book their appointment there and then, and they can do it through our website. You said about timings. I mean, do you have any actual thoughts? Because we kind of experiment with it. Like sometimes we send out the first thing.
The honest truth is,
do you have any thoughts on when?
I don't understand why. I'm guessing optician, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. I think most of opticians, yes?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Right. I don't understand why people just do a recall letter and don't communicate for the rest of the year. Because I'll give you a classic example, right? A woman on average owns, and I know this for a fact because I checked it, there's a minimum of 13 pairs of shoes on average. Some may own a lot less, some a lot more, right? But they've only got 2 feet. Yes? Right? But they have 13 pairs of shoes. But they only buy 1 pair of glasses because you only ever ask them to buy 1 pair of glasses.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we only communicate. Like we send like newsletters out, blogs, things. We sort of we perhaps try and do a communication to our entire database, maybe every couple of months, something like that. But what I was interested in terms of a specific detail is if that, for example, for a recall letter, which is the most direct call to action, isn't it? You are due an appointment, book it now, and click this button to book it. Yeah. If there was a time that you would consider to be an effective way of doing it.
Right. What I would personally do, right, is if you have their information on a mobile phone, I would text them and tell them you've sent them the email first, which sounds a weird thing to do. It's just sent you an email. That's what it literally has to say. Right, simple as that. Or alternatively, you can send it as a text message, just a quick reminder, can I book you in? Ask a simple question. Don't make a big conversation of it. Did you know your eye test is ready? And people will go, oh, I'm not coming in till August. I'm not coming. And you start conversations. And once you start conversations with people, and this can all be done online through a system, so you don't have to kind of sit there and physically text all these people. It would be a nightmare. But the really big thing about that is that you have then got a direct response to a direct question. The problem with the recall letter is those that don't reply, you don't know they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know whether they haven't replied because they've now gone somewhere else. None of those things. You don't know they haven't replied because you upset them, not you personally, but somebody might have upset them. There's various things. You don't get feedback from people and I've worked with quite a few opticians, and the issue they say is, well, some have even sent out text messages. And I said, well, what did people say? Oh, we didn't ask for a reply.
Yeah, so I must admit, like the thing we've started doing recently is since I've taken over, we've got like a monthly plan, so people pay monthly for their eye care. And
that's brilliant.
The thing that I find amazing about that is the only time we know that we've failed someone is when I find their record card lapsed, 4 years on after their last contact. Yeah. Not that we've necessarily fallen well below people's expectations, but obviously we haven't quite met their expectations. Yeah. They haven't come back. We don't know. Whereas now people pay monthly. If they cancel, we can choose to contact them and say, look, And that happened. The first one who did that, it happened, and I contacted him and said, "Look, do you know what? I'm not going to do this to everyone, but the reason I'm contacting you is you're the first person to cancel from our monthly plan, and I just wanted to know why, and if there's anything I could do to stop it happening to the next patient." And we had a conversation. He was like, "Well, do you know what? I wasn't really quite sure what I was paying for, and one of the pairs of glasses you gave me didn't do quite what I wanted, and I just thought I met someone else, and I just thought I'd go somewhere else." And I was like, "Great, no worries at all." But I was like, you could have brought those glasses into us and we would have put them right. And, this is what anyway, it ended up with, I left it. I got an email from him later and said, actually sign me back up and I'll come in and see you, next time. Whereas obviously in normal
that's what I mean about contact. It doesn't necessarily have to be complicated. It just literally.
So with the text system, so we use our practice management system to communicate with our clients, which basically is very easy to send anyone an email and send anyone a text. And if you send them an email, you can start an email conversation because they can hit reply. But text costs money, not much, like 8p a text.
Yeah.
And it's harder to reply. So we use WhatsApp. We've got a work WhatsApp account and we just WhatsApp from a phone, but then it's clunky because it's not from our direct practice management system. So, are there systems that kind of combine the two?
The way people, I've found generally, the way people need to think of it is marketing and back of house is back of house. There is yet to be a system that will do both good, right? And it's a simple fact. The reality is that all of the software, and I've spoken to most of the software engineers of all of the different companies that make these things, because I tried to get my system to talk with their systems. And they looked at me like I was some sort of alien.
And what does your system do?
My system will basically take your database of customers and it will send them reminders. It will send them reminders based on things they do. So if they reply, "No, I'm not interested," it will stop sending them my reminders, etc., etc. But it's a conversation, and that's what customers want.
And is that so? That's through actual tech. That's through just text messages, SMS,
text or email. It can be email. It can be, if somebody say, for example, somebody came to a Facebook page, your Facebook, but do you have a Facebook?
Yeah.
Right. Someone came to your Facebook page and contact me or message me or whatever. How often do you check it?
Do you know we use an agency actually for our social media, so that would always be checked.
They do. So yours is quite exceptional because most don't. Right. And most people, it's the same as the Contact Us button. People do not check because they don't have it as a system in place that they meant to check. The Contact Us button is nightmare. It really is. I don't know why companies have them because they don't check them. But yeah, essentially that's what it will do. But it will allow you to schedule social media, but you don't need that because you've got social media. But it allows you to be in control based on, and more importantly, you can even chase people up on the day of an appointment. So for example, you send them a reminder 24 hours before, you send them a reminder that morning, and you send them a reminder. You can even ask them, 5 minutes before, have you managed to find somewhere to park?
But how would it know when their appointment was?
You haven't turned up.
So how would it know when their appointment was? Because that's where, like for us, we do things like that through our practice management system. Obviously, that's where you're booking the appointments.
So basically, you make the two talk to each other in some ways. And if not, you just schedule certain areas where you're booking appointments and then you just book them in. So essentially you make it work. It's not an ideal thing because the two things aren't designed to talk together quite so well as they could be, and it could be. It's just that they won't do it because it's like I said to them, look, people will give you their name and email and possibly their phone number voluntarily. I said they will not give you their medical history. They don't know what they want. Number of people who have an appointment booking system and they ask 15 questions and you think, well, I don't know, I haven't met anyone yet, I don't know what I need. Do you want contact lenses? Do you want specs? Do you want this? I don't know. And yet I'm expected to book an appointment for this specific thing, but I don't know. We can't ask customers, clients, patients, however we want to refer to them. We can't ask them to diagnose what's wrong with them. It's like if you go to the doctors and they say, well, what's wrong with you? You think, well, if I knew that, I wouldn't be there. But seriously, I can't remember the name of the company, but they created a piece of software and there were 16 questions. And it's one of the main optical companies who create these back of house things. And there were 16 questions you had to answer to book an appointment. And I said, people won't do it. I said, people do not give, they've never met you. So why would they give you this information?
Mm.
You know, it's different when they're a customer because then they're just booking an appointment. They don't care. But the point is, initially, you just want to capture them because if they aren't booking an appointment, what are they doing? They're disappearing. And if they're disappearing, they're going somewhere else.
Yeah. Because it's interesting, your thing you said about your database. So I inherited a database which we've just got to 10,000 patients. 5,000 of them are lapsed. So 5,000 of them are active. So, you know, within our practice management software.
Why are they lapsed?
As in, like, very, very fallen off the recall scheme, not because it's been going for 33 years, the business. So, you know, but unfortunately, of the 5,000, we don't actually, hardly any of them we have emails for, because it was obviously before emails. When we've just basically got their address. We got their address.
It's not their address.
A lot of them we don't even have a mobile phone number for.
So make a very irresistible offer. Buy something specific that looks like it's really, really valuable. Right, even if it's something that's completely unrelated to your business, make it something, I don't know, you know, get a free box of chocolate. I'll just give you an idea anyway. But the point is, just think of something that you can do a deal with another company for to get lots of. You don't need many. You only need as many as you did replies to. Send each one of these one last mailer and say, get your £500 voucher or something silly, absolutely berserk thing that could potentially reactivate a customer that's dead.
Mm.
One is competition. We'd like to enter you into our chance to win a 2,000. Yeah, that's another really good one would work is you ask them if they want to enter competition to win a £2,000 per makeover. Yeah. So you do a deal with an
photographic company.
You know, it doesn't have to cost you £2,000. It's £2,000 of whatever. So, you know, a fairly high-end pair of specs, etc., etc. The reality is, if you get 20 people, you've made an awful lot more than £2,000, and you've also got 20 new clients who might stay with you for 10 years.
Yeah. Do you know what I was interested in? We've never done anything like it, but I was interested in telemarketing them and calling them and just saying, look, do you know what, we're just updating our database, which is we're updating our software, so we just want to see, obviously you've been to us before, we want to see if you'd like to know about the services we offer currently, or whether you'd just like to take us off.
If you've got contact numbers, then phone them. See, the great thing is if you make an offer, you've activated someone potentially, right? And if you've got a phone number, it's probably worth, I can put you in contact with somebody who could do it for you, who essentially you could just call everybody and just get yes or no's. Ask that very one simple question. Are you interested in? Bing. See, the problem is when people do telecalls, they're trying to sell somebody something.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to give somebody something for obvious reasons. Right. Would you like something for nothing? Who's going to say no? But as soon as they come into your shop, some of them will buy stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting you said about the spec cleaner. We've got one. We've got one of those refillable spec cleaner things in practice, and they cost like £2 a bottle or something.
Exactly, £2 to get a new customer.
So I've just had like 1,000 little business cards printed with a like free glasses cleaner for life.
Yeah,
you know, which I'm going to send out.
Joseph, can I just come in? Joseph, I was just going to say, you said you've taken over this practice, so it might be worth letting these people know that it is under new management, because
we have. Do you know what we've sent? We've sent like mails round and things about that. And I've done a letter to these. I've done a letter which we can really easily post out, you know, with our system, which is no effort. But as Graham was saying, it's kind of, it's not really very engaging, is it? If you receive.
No, but I see your point, because it's exactly my dilemma, because not everyone has emails, or the girls forget to take emails, and texts do cost 8p. I know it's not that much in the big grand of things, but nevertheless it can add up. But you know, using WhatsApp on your phone, it's a little bit tedious. However, if there was a way that our software companies could, connect
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
be
that'd be
easy, because
amazing.
sometimes
Yeah.
I open up WhatsApp on my desktop, and I can talk to patients like that rather than my phone. But if there was a way of actually, rather than a text message being sent, if that could initiate a conversation on their WhatsApp message, and then that way you could carry on, it wouldn't cost anything.
To be honest, the response rate from the 8p is nothing. Trust me.
Yeah, it is minimal, I know. Yeah, but it's just
SMS is also. I find SMS I find SMS quite useful because no one texts me anymore. So actually, if I go to messages, I go to actually my messages, I've always got they're still at the top. Those ones, whereas on WhatsApp,
and not to mention the fact that all of us, almost without exception, if we get a text message, we quickly check it.
Yeah.
So if you say
WhatsApp, you
just literally ask the question, we haven't heard from you for a while. Is everything okay? Some people will go
simple. Yeah.
Right. That's all you literally have to do. You just start that conversation.
Yeah.
Right. For anyone
less likely to get spam on messages.
Or alternatively, I mean, the one admittedly they were shut at the time, and we had loads of stock that we just wanted rid of. So it was 50% of everything. Right, which sounded like a crazy offer, but basically this stock was old, for want of a better words, because you could decide what you made in the 50%, but you don't go into that detail because you just say, well, actually, those items we can't put into the sale, but you just make. But the reality is do you want to come and have a look? And this was people that were, and the irony of this is they didn't even have an optician. So they were dispensing only. So people had to go and book an appointment. Bearing in mind this was during the period of lockdown, right? So they had to book an appointment, which was harder than anything to get. They were generally going to Specsavers, so that's good to get. And then they were coming out of Specsavers, not buying in Specsavers, and coming to get the deal. And some people were buying 3 or 4 pairs of specs, and they weren't buying every pair at 50% off. So literally, because of the fact that they were so relieved to go and get stuff, and because somebody had actually asked them, that's the big one, is somebody actually said, is there anything I can do for you? As opposed to, oh, by the way, it's your annual checkup. Because
it's how you word it. Yeah,
the words annual and checkup, reword the letter. People don't know why it's having its own, right? If you show concern, we're really concerned that blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you get the gist. So basically, you're providing them a reason why it's important to them, as opposed to, oh, there's another 40, 50, 60 quid, which, to be totally honest, isn't worth the money for you, is it?
Yeah, I mean, for I never, ever give anything at a discounted price.
No, which is good.
So that's what I've always struggled with. I've always struggled with how do I engage, So one thing I thought about doing is, so our eye examinations are 60 minutes a minute for an eye examination, and I'm thinking about making them 75 minutes. Yeah. So I think what I might say is you get 15 minutes for free.
Yeah, it's fine.
Our prices are the same, but you get a longer time. 25% extra service for the same money, because
the big
that's what I've always found hard, how to engage with people when you don't want to offer them money off.
Yeah.
And I find competitions a little bit, a little bit cheesy maybe.
Does it matter?
I think nowadays,
do you know what I think? I worry that would affect my brand slightly.
Yeah,
doing things like that.
It's like free eye test for me is an absolute no-go area.
No, because you can't make money on it anyway.
Well, it's not that. It's just that we work so hard, doing what we do, and it's a plumber doesn't say, "Oh, I'll give you a free checkup on your pipes or whatever." It just doesn't go. Why should we sell ourselves completely free? So I'm with you on that, Joe. So that we shouldn't be just relying on promotions. The other thing I found though, nowadays, because there is so much, cutthroat competition out there, people go more for service and more for that personal touch. And to be honest with you, if anybody comes to me and they're asking me the price for this, or oh, so and so, can you match prices, or so and so does it cheaper, whatever. Sorry, I think it's best if you go to them. I don't.
Let's be honest,
in
probably the
a
right
nice
answer.
way, because if you don't value my time, my service, my profession,
Yeah.
they all want me to spend an hour on them for an eye exam, but when it comes to paying for it, they'll
Yeah.
no, they don't want it. Or I'm sorry, I don't want people like that. If someone's spending time with me, I value that, and I'm happy to pay for it, but so I certainly, sometimes you have to do the odd promotion, obviously, to encourage them to come in and let them know that we are here for all sorts of price ranges, etc.
Yeah.
But certainly not, giving things away.
The other big one is a consultation, because you put a value on it.
Yeah.
So an eyewear consultation, which might include an eye test, as you say, charge 65, 75 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if you can show why you charge more money, then people don't have a problem paying it, because you only want people who won't have a problem paying. You don't actually want people who are a pain in the bum.
Yeah.
Because they're hard work. Generally, people who want to pay less for stuff are really hard work.
Yeah.
So if you had, say, for example, have package things is so good, because you can't be compared to anybody else.
Yeah.
So instead of doing like, you're £75 and you're 15 minutes free, rename it. Don't call it an eye test, call it an eye consultation program or something like that. And we do a styling this, and we do, we look at your current situation. We do an intensive, give reasons for why you do stuff, and people don't have a problem paying for it. If you don't know why you do something, you think, my God, that's expensive.
Yeah.
It's people value
communication.
They know what it's for. We do this eye test to make sure that you don't go blind, because that, say for example, there's 70 and we want you to be able to spend time, or 60, we want you to be able to spend time with your grandchildren and blah, 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 right? Because they're the things they actually buy. They don't buy a pair of specs. They buy the vision. They don't care how much they cost if it's that important to them. But we all attempted to sell the thing, and it's not the thing that people buy. It's what that thing does for them. Right. If you've got back pain and you go to a physiotherapist, it's not to get rid of your back pain. It's the fact that you want to be able to hold your kids, or you want to be able to play sport or whatever. It's not as simple as, which is why qualifications don't matter. Your patients couldn't care less how qualified you are, as long as you make them feel good.
Yeah.
So, all this equipment that you guys have to have, and I understand you have to have it because that's how you do your job. But I see people posting on Facebook that they've just got a £100,000 piece of equipment, and I'm thinking, your customers don't want to know. They don't know why you got it.
Yeah.
You tell them, we've got this £100,000 piece of £100,000 piece of equipment, and this is it because it does this, 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 and this, which are really important to you. Then suddenly they value it, and they'll pay you 75, 100 quid or whatever for a session on these things. But they won't if it's just, there's a big flashy bit of equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an iPhone. The iPhone doesn't sell the iPhone based on what it does. That sells it. If you look on an advert for an iPhone, for example, it all shows you them, taking photos on their holidays and all this stuff. It's not about how you take the photo. It's the process, and then it's the benefit that really matters. People don't buy the process. They don't want to know what you do. They want to know how they feel afterwards. Does that kind of make sense? Does that help a bit?
No, it's all very useful. All very useful.
That makes promotion that much easier, because instead of thinking of, I'm going to do an offer or I'm going to promote this in a different way, think, how can I make it sound completely different to everybody else? And it's often a case of, let's take a really daft example. Attention skiers, right? You're trying to sell sunglasses. Attention skiers. Do you go skiing and find that the sun, makes your eyes sting, blah, 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 blah? Tell a story, and you'll have every skier from here to the Timbuktu want to come in because you've suddenly become an expert. But as far as they're concerned, you're no different to Specsavers if you sell the same product. So you have to make that product stand out for other reasons, because they aren't buying glasses. They are buying how they feel. People who spend £1,000 on a pair of specs don't buy them because they're £1,000 pair of specs. They buy them because their friends are going to go, wow, you've got some really smashed glasses. Or their boss is going to say, well, that's really, or whatever. It's that matters to them. It's not the actual thing. So that might help you think why you don't have to discount. Just think a different way around it. And it's the same when you send out messages to people. Don't ask complicated questions. Don't call them recall letters. Or I know you probably don't, but don't say your eye test is due. It's been a while since we've seen you. I just wanted to invite you for an eye consultation.
I'd say just on that count of the recall letters, I know exactly what you mean about creating a conversation, but people say, will you remind me of my eye test in 2 years? So we just send something really simple, like your last eye examination was 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you call this number to book now? And now we have like book here, we don't give it any bump. It's just like literally information.
But why not send them a message after 6 months? Is everything okay with your eyewear?
Yeah.
And you literally can schedule it. I don't know if you can in your system, but certainly the systems I use, you can schedule that. So you don't have to touch it. You don't have to do anything. But more importantly, the system will also, after they've been in and purchased a pair of glasses, it will send them a message saying, can you leave us a review? So you've now gotten them to leave you a review. And if they don't leave a review, sends a couple of weeks later, is there something that, that we could have done for you to get you to leave a review? Or these kind of questions, because it's all about communication. People say that you don't want to hear from them. People don't want to hear from you regularly. I agree they don't. But the reality is we get stuff that we hear from every single day. We watch the news and stuff. If something's interesting enough, we'll read it. It's just that most of it's boring.
Well, the reason I'm on here is you post quite a lot on LinkedIn and do quite a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. And do you know what? There's someone else who I follow on LinkedIn who posts all the time. Yeah. And I'm like, do you know what? I quite like her posts. I'm quite sort of impressed by them. But I'm like, this is boring. Have you not got anything else to do with your life? Kind of. But actually, I'm thinking about using her services because it's like she keeps kind of ramming it down my throat. And I'm like,
the thing is, it works.
The
reason is
I just don't want to be.
People will say, "Don't contact me." Well, those people that don't want to be contacted, don't contact them. But some people do want to be contacted, but they never get the option because everyone assumes that it's like people. One of the other classic things you prejudge people. We all do it. They won't be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Right. But you don't know. If something's important enough to you, the example I was given, right, is if your kids were kidnapped and somebody asked for a ransom, you'd find a way. Yeah, a fact. You might not have the money, but you would find a way. Yes?
Yeah.
So it isn't about the money, it's about how important it is. But you have to make the thing that you want people to do that important to them. And the reason is you have to give them a reason for it to be important.
So if I can just change the conversation for a bit, we're talking about your services, Graham.
Yes.
I know I'm linked in with you, but I haven't followed you sort of avidly. But the website is something that definitely will be useful. I desperately need help with my website at the moment. So is that what you've got a team of 10 people, you said, working with you? What are you kind of offering?
Well,
I mean, obviously, you're not giving
on these events because I just think that's kind of said I wouldn't. But basically, the simple fact is we don't just offer a website, right? What I would do to anyone who wants to know is we do a complete marketing review, right? Okay. And it's up to you what is a priority, and I will show you why something that you might not think is a priority could be a bigger priority in the short term. Yeah. Because sometimes it isn't that you need a new website. You might need to tweak your old website, but there might be things that you could do. The classic one is the contact us button. I absolutely detest the damn thing. But things like the missed call text back and stuff like that will bring you instant results. The contacting your existing clients will bring you a lot of money. And I know people say, well, we send out recall letters, etc., but it will bring you a lot. You'll be amazed how many people would actually buy something if you ask them. It's just literally nobody ever asks them. They only get asked when they come through the door. And a lot of people literally make that decision for other people. And companies like Amazon, for example, right? They don't make that decision for other people. They just throw the option at them and say, here's the possibility. You've bought this, you might want that.
Okay.
And they can just say no.
Okay. So I need to, sorry, Graham. I need to carry on this conversation with you another time because I'm getting late for something.
I really appreciate your time and thanks for hanging around.
No, that's fine. And yeah, I'm kind of like on the crossroads at the moment, so which way to go. So I'll definitely be in touch.
See what
it goes.
If you decide not to go ahead and do anything, that's no big deal. At least you'll be better for the fact that you've had the conversation. Yeah,
no, I mean, I think it's good of you to spare your time in this day and age, no charge. So we're very grateful for that. But no, anyway, I'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Nice to speak to everyone else as well. All right. Okay. All the best then.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye.
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 And I'll come off as well. Thank you very much, Graham. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, cheers, Graham. Yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot, mate. That was
You take
really
care.
enjoyable. Yeah. You have a good evening. With Graham, where are you based?
Peterborough.
Okay, cool.
On yourself?
Chichester, South Coast.
Oh, right, nice.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Well, I said I've taken down your contact details.
Yeah, as you say, you've seen me stuff. A lot of the stuff on LinkedIn isn't optician related anymore.
Yeah.
Because predominantly I'm doing the LinkedIn event promotions because I have others, as I say, I've got this health division where I have other people do most of the work, but I always oversee everything. But essentially, we have lots of very new things that are coming out, like videos where you can put your client on a video, or we can create a sales video for you and things like that as well. Video is really, really powerful stuff.
Yeah, do you know what we've just had? So what I'm thinking, we've just had a load of video made. So we've used like a local.
Oh, you're having it done into shorts.
So yeah, sort of mixture. So there's like a kind of 90-second long kind of about us thing for our website, and then we're going to have some shorter videos on like some of our services, and
they're brilliant.
Have little kind of snippets to do out on social and stuff.
That's brilliant.
Done by like a company so that it's all like cinema quality kind of shooting. But again, I've made a few tweaks to the website. I've kind of done a few things.
Yeah.
And we're offering a few new services, and I feel like I'm just at the stage where I need to put it all together. I've got a few of the resources now, but I'm not sort of using them yet.
What I wouldn't do, if I'm honest, is, this sounds really silly and counterproductive. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on production of video because it's actually more authentic. People prefer the kind of unprofessional video, the kind of on my phone videos, quite literally. And it's because it's real. See, if you create a Hollywood production, it feels false. I've got, as you probably can see, I've got road bikes and all sorts, but predominantly because more for audio, I've got cameras and all sorts of things in here. But the reality is that works for some people. But when your business is a personal business, and the nature of your business is a very personal business, is people want to know you. They don't want to know the Hollywood you, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So, I mean, for us, it was important, I guess, to kind of produce something that looks really professional. Socials.
I do appreciate what you're meaning in terms of kind of social media and kind of shorter videos, having stuff that tells.
They want to know you, and they don't always want to know you at work either.
Yeah.
When
The
does
thing we
the-
get most responses for are when we put personal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, such and such, one of my colleagues having a baby.
and
You know,
stuff
things
that
like
relates to the town you live in and things like that.
Yeah.
Because it then shows you're one of us, if you like, if you're just it shows you're one of the team kind of thing. So there's an element of loyalty to that, because companies like Specsavers, I'll pick the obvious one, they spend millions to get national advertising, right? But they don't collect personal. There's nothing personal about it at all. It's all mass advertising. But you can be just as effective with a hell of a lot smaller budget because of the fact that you are personal, because that's what your biggest sales point is. It's not your best quality glasses, because anyone can go and buy them. You can buy them online. But the point is it's those things that make you you, and those things that make your business unique will be the reason that you'll thrive and others will fail.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Graham. Well, I said I really appreciate that. It's really good insight. I really
if you want to discuss it more, just wing me a line. Yeah,
I will do. And I enjoyed your presentation. It's really good.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot, Graham.
Cheers, Ed.
Thanks.
Bye.